Welcome to the Strongbox Installation Guide. This video guide will provide quick and easy instructions to get you and your truck out on the road. 7 simple steps, and you're done. You will receive your Strongbox in one box. The one box will come with the front cover, cargo compartment, and installation kit. We recommend that you briefly familiarize yourself with the installation instructions before proceeding. The system can be installed using simple hand tools. The first step in the build is to install the front bed rail assemblies to the truck box. These parts act as the attachment system to the truck. The cutout in the top flange of each rail is to be positioned towards the rear of the truck. Loosen the back plate nuts to the end of the bolts, and then load the front bed rails to the truck box. Raise the bed rail back plates until flush with the underside of the truck box while keeping them parallel to the back side of the bed rail. Ensure that the bed rail remains flush with the top of the truck box. Hand tighten all fasteners while holding the back plates in position. Locate the bed rails using the positioning template by positioning the template between the truck headboard sheet metal and the front edge of the bed rail. On some trucks, it may be necessary to move the bed liner slightly to insert the template. With the template holding the bed rail in the correct position, secure the fasteners while maintaining the relationship between the bed rails, the back plate, and the truck box rail. After tightening the fasteners, reconfirm the position of the bed rails using the template. Thread the stabilizer bolt for the bed rail until it firmly contacts the truck sheet metal behind the bed rail. Tighten the jam nut securing the bolt in place. The cross member is installed from the front end of the bed rails at the truck box headboard. Slide a single stud plate into the front end of the channel of each bed rail. The tab on the cross member bracket faces forward, with the stud attachment end at the rear. Position the cross member and bracket over the stud and insert the bracket tab into the bed rail channel. Loose assemble a nut to each stud. Temporarily position the cross member in the center of the cutout in the bed rail. Ensure that the end bracket tabs are still engaged in the bed rail channel on both sides. Apply the headboard seal across the width of the truck box headboard, trimming the ends as required to fit the seal in between the sides of the truck box side rails. Remove the backing tape to expose the adhesive and apply the seal to the center of the headboard. If your truck's box is equipped with a bed liner, the seal is applied to the top surface of the bed liner covering the headboard. The seal should be approximately flush with the top of the truck box side rail when installed. Note: if you have an aftermarket bed liner on your GM or Ram truck, refer to the installation instructions. Place the cargo compartment into the front of the truck box. The large seal flange is positioned towards the rear of the truck. The front flange on the compartment should be approximately even with the forward edge of the headboard when in position. For trucks with a 5.5-foot box that are equipped with an aftermarket bed liner, check the clearance between the compartment legs and the bed liner. If an interference condition exists, refer to the installation instructions. Lift the rear compartment up to allow the cross member to be slid into the channel on the underside of the flange. Slide the studs in the front of the cross member through the holes in the compartment as the cross member and compartment are brought together. Ensure that the cross member bracket tabs are still engaged with the bed rail after the cross member is in place. To locate the cargo compartment in the correct position relative to the truck box, first align the hinge mounting holes on both sides of the compartment with the mounting points in the bed rails. Then ensure that the compartment is positioned evenly, side to side, by inspecting the relationship between the rear flange and the bed rail on top of the truck box rail. Install the hinge mounting spacers to the compartment while opening. Accomplish this by tipping and inserting the lower edge of the smaller end plate into the opening, and then rotating the plate through the opening. The notch in the smaller end plate must face downward. Hand start and then remove all 4 hinge bolts to ensure proper alignment between the spacer and the bed rail. Insert the foam seals behind the larger end plate of the hinge spacers. Place the front cover mounting blocks in the pockets on either side of the compartment front flange. Carefully place the cover onto the mounting blocks and open the front hinges. Compress the hinge spacer foam seals to allow the front hinge body bracket to sit against the face of the spacer end plate. Loose install the hinge mounting bolts on both sides of the cover and then secure. Ensure that the cover remains seated on the mounting blocks as the bolts are tightened. Install the struts by snapping the strut socket over the ball studs on the hinge and cover. Install the hinge end first. The strut shaft is installed downward towards the hinge. You may have to slightly compress the struts to engage the upper ball stud. Install the front striker spacer through the rear of the compartment over the exposed crossmember studs. Load the front striker to the spacer and hand start the stud nuts. Ensure that the compartment is still positioned correctly side to side, and then position the striker in the middle of the vertical adjustment range and secure the mounting nuts. Tightening the nuts will firmly seat the crossmember against the rear of the cargo compartment. Ensure that the crossmember is evenly contacting the rear of the cargo compartment and then tighten the crossmember end bracket nuts. First tighten the bed rail attachment point, then tighten the nuts securing the bracket to the crossmember. Ensure this tightening sequence is followed. Install the cargo compartment rear flange brace by inserting the top end of the brace into the underside of the flange and placing the lower end of the brace against the front face of the cargo compartment. Install and tighten the bolt and nut to secure the brace in position. Inspect the relationship between the latch and the striker as the cover approaches the closed position. The horseshoe-shaped opening in the latch pawl should be centered around the striker pin. If the correct relationship exists between the latch and striker, attempt to latch the cover. If the latch is not aligned side to side, the latch bracket will have to be moved on the cover by loosening the two bracket nuts. A misalignment will create a no latch or hard latching condition. Reposition the striker vertically as required to adjust the trim height of the cover along the side of the truck while maintaining the latching function to the striker. The trim height should be even from front to rear, looking at the cover side rail. Last step. Loosen the lock nut and turn the stud downward until the support foot rests on the floor of the truck box. Retighten the lock nut to secure the support foot in place. Do not overdrive the support foot against the truck box floor. The foot should rest firmly. Your Stowe Cargo Strong Box installation is now complete. We hope that this installation guide has been most helpful. For further questions or inquiries, please don't hesitate to visit us at www.stowecargo.com or feel free to call us at 844-860-8389.